Hello everybody, I'm Yoshikigami, President of Boss. I'm talking from Japan as usual. Hi Jeff, how are you doing?
Hello, Yoshi-san. It's great to see you. Hello, everyone. My name is Jeff Slingloff. I'm the product manager for Boss here in the United States, and we're here this week with Talk with Boss. And as you probably know, Talk with Boss is a program that we do every week, typically, and it's a time for us to actually get some behind-the-scenes information from the man himself, the president of Boss, Yoshi Ikigami. Yoshi, would you like to tell everybody what our theme for today is?
Yeah, last week we showed SD1 and MT2 anniversary models by using waveform analysis. So this week we're going to continue a waveform analysis with some Boss pedals.
That's awesome. Yeah, that was really fun when we did that last week. So I can see that you've already got an oscilloscope next to you, so you can actually show some people what's going on. So I'm really excited for this. Um, we introduced, the SD1 and the MT2 last week, which was really nice because last week we also announced the anniversary version of those. So we have the SD1 4A, which is an inverted color version, and the MT2 3A, which is a more black, darker, more sinister looking kind of thing. And they're both very exciting. So please get them while they're out there. And the waveform differences, when you showed those on the oscilloscope, were very strong, very clear and recognizable. The difference between a drive pedal and a high gain pedal as it was. Today, we should probably take a look at what the difference is, even a little bit more clear between an overdrive pedal and the distortion pedal, because we can explain to people what those are, but I think the oscilloscope will give people a different view. So today we'll start with the SD1 and DS1, and the signals will be displayed on we'll start with a sine wave to you on the oscilloscope, right? And then could you explain the sine wave first so that everybody understands, again, what that is all about and how we use that?
Yes, so oscilloscope is visualizing the sound. That is the most important point, right? We can watch the sound on the oscilloscope. So oscilloscope shows waves, and horizontal axis is time, and vertical axis is voltage. And also we are using sine wave that is called pure tone. So that doesn't have any overtone harmonics. So that it's very easy to recognize change of the sound, especially distortion sound. And if we use guitar signal, it's too much complicated, and also we cannot control. So comparing the sound is very much difficult. So we are trying to visualize sound as a waveform. So today we are going to show some pedals, and all the settings are center position, volume center position. Only level position is set to easy to recognize. We adjust the output level to each pedal. So, yeah. Now you can see sine wave. And let's turn on SD1. You can see the yellow waveform, that is SD1. And also, you can see difference here and here. Waveform is not same because SD1 is using asymmetric overdrive circuit. We use a symmetric overdrive circuit from OD1. So it's slightly different, but upper side and downside is a little bit different.
Right, which is, I think probably the original engineers who worked on that, 40 years ago, they were probably trying to mimic how a 12AX7 tube in an amp kind of pushes to one side to clip, which brings out, the even order harmonics, which is really, really fun. But you can see, even, it's not a very aggressive signal from the SD1. It's a very naturally overdriven, it's probably adding some great second order harmonics, and really colorful and kind of nice, Um, could you show us maybe a typical, like if that's an overdrive, what does a distortion pedal kind of look like, Yoshi?
Okay, let's turn on DS1. So you can see green waveform. That is DS1 output signal. So it's looks like a square wave, but that is made by distortion clipping circuit. And here it's kind of like getting to be flat. That means that is overdrive sound, and also left side of the shoulder. This is showing high frequency response. So the moving up here means enhance the high end, and also right side is low frequency. So if I change the tone of DS1 here, turn down tone, then left shoulder goes down and right shoulder goes up, and the opposite side turn up.
Right, so it's much brighter right now.
Yes, very much brighter. So that is a very basic change of the waveform.
Right, and it's really fun to see them on there, and you can clearly see that separate going on. For people at home, one of the reasons you can see the high and low frequencies is that there's distortion, so it's created a bunch of harmonics. So even though we put a pure tone, that sine wave in, we should only give out the pure tone in a non-distorted sense. All kinds of harmonics been created. Now the EQ is adding all kinds of flavor all over the place that Yoshi's showing. So it's really, really, really cool. Now, the thing that probably gets a little confusing, and I think would be great to see, is we have pedals like the OS2, and the OS2 actually has both an overdrive pedal inside of it and a distortion pedal. It's a dual mode pedal. It's got asymmetric clipping, which adds all those even harmonics. Do you think maybe we could see a little bit of what an OS2 does now that it has both things inside of it, Yoshi?
Yeah. So let's change SD1 to OS2.
Okay.
Wait a moment. Yeah.
Yoshi.
Today we have a lot of pedals, so I'm looking like a very much poor magician, So maybe next time, white pigeon comes up.
Well, I think it's really good that you did that with the audience, because they can clearly see. We could have easily used a product like an ES8, which is our switcher, right? And we could have put all the pedals in and hit a button and it switched, but it would be really confusing to the audience. So I'm glad you're doing it in front of everyone.
So, okay, I'm ready. So turn on OS2. So now you can see OS2 waveform as a yellow waveform. So right now, color right now is set to OD. And this is very much natural overdrive. Same to SD1. This is asymmetrical clipping circuit. And turn the color knob to distortion side.
Yeah, you can totally see it turn into square wave.
You can see close to DS1 waveform.
That's really amazing.
Yep.
So, it's similar to, when it gets edgy and you put it in that mode, it got a little bit more close to a square wave, like a distortion pedal, like a DS1. And when the knob was turned the other way, it looked really smooth. And, having looked at many, many harmonics, oscilloscopes for my lifetime, it probably sounds very smooth when it looks smooth, and when it looks edgy, it probably sounds edgy. It's pretty simple to graph it in your mind. If the left side is showing off the high frequencies, and the right side is showing off the low frequencies,
Yes.
that's what's going on, right?
Yep. So that's right. So right now, color knob is set to DS side, so you can see distortion sound. And as you said, the waveform left shoulder here
Mm-hmm.
and right shoulder here. Yeah, right is higher than DS1. So that means OS2 has much more low end frequency.
That's so cool. So by seeing the waveform, it's clear that we can see the unique characteristics, even though they both carry the same name, DS, right? Well, there's other DS pedals in line. Do you want to show people the difference between a DS1 and maybe a DS2 turbo distortion?
Okay, wait a moment.
Okay, right. While Yoshi switches, we'll
Yeah.
look at this, right? He has so many pedals to switch from.
Yes.
I do not envy you. And I'm sure many people at home do envy you because they would like to be having all those pedals to switch between and hear all their fun sounds right in front of them.
Okay, I'm ready. So
Okay.
turn on DS2. Why? Oh, I used the remote jack. Sorry. So this is DS2 sound. Oh, DS2 right now it's a turbo 1. Yeah, so right shoulder is moving up. So DS2 turbo 1 mode has much more low end compared to DS1.
Right. And because it's not like a sharp, pointy thing on the right-hand side, it's not like a single frequency, like they're thumping, 80 hertz or something like that. It's so wide, so it's got a lot of low mids probably as well, in those low frequencies. It's like a shelf filter.
Yeah, and also, oh, I forgot to explain about the phase.
Oh,
DS1, green signal and yellow signal. They are kind of like inverted phase. So DS1 original design is phase is inverted. I mean input to output is opposite phase. It's sometimes happening on amplifier, right? Right?
yes. Right, yeah, because every amplifier, each tube flips the phase, which is why on some amplifiers, when you kick in the next gain stage, it'll flip phase. So I might have two amplifiers that are perfectly in tone, in phase, and then do it, and then my head feels like it's spinning. Which my guess is the original engineers 40 years ago were thinking of it like a tube because they did asymmetric clipping, and they flipped the phase as if it was another tube stage that you just added to your amp. It was kind of genius.
Also,
right?
changing phase, we need to add another operational amplifier. So
Right.
they didn't like to add another one stage of the amplifier, maybe. So,
Right.
okay, DS2 has tab 2 mode. Let's change tab mode to 2.
Okay.
Yeah. So, totally different waveform. Tab
Right.
2 has much more hard clipping, right? And also, left shoulder is going down, and a little bit right shoulder is also down. That means turbo mode 2 is more mid boost type of sound.
Right.
And also distortion knob, changing distortion, then you can see soft distortion to hard one. and also tone. It's
So much
same.
high
Yeah,
end.
low boost, high boost. Yeah, this is DS2. You know, DS1, DS2 has a different sound. Each has a kind of like a different character. So we are just watching very typical waveform. Only one scene. Last time I said that's kind of like a still picture, not showing everything. But this waveform shows each pedal's character very much.
Yes, you can really see a lot just from this one image, even though it is way more complex when you have like a full chord playing and things like that. And this is only one of the tools, as you explained last week, for testing stuff, but it's very visual and very easy to understand. So I'm glad we're showing it to the audience. So speaking of things we've spoken about before, we spoke a while back about another distortion pedal, and it wasn't only a normal distortion pedal. It didn't have a lot of distortion. It had mega distortion, the
Yes.
famous MD2. We talked about it on one of the previous Boss talks with Boss. And if I'm not mistaken, didn't you say that was one of your favorite pedals that you love?
Yes, yes. I tried all the pedal, and in that maybe I tried three at the same time. Then MD2 was my best one at the time. So
Right.
I already prepared. So
Good.
turn on MD2. Oh, this is MD2. Compared to DS1, that has much more character on low end, boosting a little bit, and seems like very natural. Left shoulder is not much boost like a DS1, so it's kind of like close to regular square wave. That means MD2 doesn't have too much equalizing. So MD2 has booster plus distortion circuit, and you can get much more deeper distortion. So you can create good for solo sound by using gain boost and tone and bottom. So let's change tone and the bottom a little bit. So changing tone, then it's kind of like EQ, you know, high
So much
boost,
high end there.
yeah, and also bottom, down the bottom, and up the bottom. So as I said, right shoulder is moving down and moving up, and also tone, left shoulder is moving down, moving up. So that is tone and the bottom.
That's so cool. And so that was a great example of those. So we have overdrive pedals, we have distortion pedals. You've shown some complex pedals that actually have, dual circuits inside of them. But I think what people would probably also like to see is maybe like a difference between a good classic overdrive and another overdrive, like overdrive versus overdrive, like maybe an SD1 versus an OD3.
Yes. Yes. Wait. All these
Wait
three.
for it.
All these three is here.
Any minute now, Yoshi's going to pull a rabbit out of a hat. So,
Okay, I'm ready.
okay.
So let's see the waveform of SD1. This is SD1.
Oh, fun.
And OD3. Kind of like similar, but a little bit different. You know, it might be a subtle difference on the visual. The sound sounds totally different. OD3 green, OD3
Hmm.
has a character on here, oh, pin is not good here, you know.
Right. So it's a little more extended frequency range.
Yeah. And SD1 is, you know, very usual smooth curve. So the OD3 is a little bit uh, enhanced low end and high end. SD1 is much more mellow sound, you know. So SD1 has a very much character on mid, but OD3 has much more wider range. And OD3 is using discrete design dual stage overdrive circuit. So it's a little bit different character from SD1. So which is better? Uh, it doesn't make sense, you know. Please select which sound you want to have, or what is your playing style or music.
Yes, or get them all,
Mhm.
right? Just that way, have them around in case you need them, right? As Yoshi apparently does on his desk in front of him. I mean, one of the things that I have found, and other people might find as well, is if you tend to use a cleaner amp, you might like the extended frequency range. You might like a little extra bass and treble. But often, if you're getting a lot of your distortion or some of your distortion from your amplifier, being a little bit more mid-range, like an SD1, can sometimes sit a little bit better. But it really, it's kind of up to you and kind of a very unique thing. It's amazing to me how many people will buy a pedal like an older SD1 and they will take it to a boutique, person to modify. And sometimes they really just needed to try out one of the other Boss pedals because we've already got a variation on it that would probably be closer. So last week, Yoshi, we saw MT2, which was very, very awesome. And that is, one of the most, it is probably the single most popular high gain pedal ever made. And it's quite unique in its metal.
Mm.
It's so much metal and so much clipping, pre-distortion, and it's great. But we have another pedal, which is also lately actually getting a lot of fanfare and publicity, which is the ML2, which can tend to be a little bit more amp-like
Mm.
in some ways. Do you think maybe you could show us the difference between those guys?
Yes. Let's see MT2 waveform. Yeah, yellow
Oh,
is
wow.
MT2. Very much unique waveform, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can see some dip, like here, you know. So and also uh, this is ML2. So
Wow.
ML2 doesn't have a kind of like a huge dip here on the MT2 waveform. So that is, MT2 is making sound by using uh, some of filters. But ML2 is a little bit different, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So ML2 has much more clear sound and also distortion. Uh, ML2 has much more high end. You can see uh, left shoulder green is much more high. So that
Mm-hmm.
means ML2 has a much more high end character.
Yeah, they're both. You can see similarities in the way type of distortion that they're doing,
Hmm.
but those like the waveform that is on the MT2 is definitely a little bit more complex. And you can see that big dip that's probably, I don't know, I'm guessing it's like 1,000 hertz or something like that from where it's at, but very uniquely different. And so cool. Do you want to sweep the frequencies or anything on those before we go off and maybe talk about something else?
Frequency change.
Yeah, because
Oh,
with those really strong EQs on the MT2, it might be really fun to see.
yes, yes. Uh, Turn off ML2, then you can see only MT2.
Uh-huh.
Turn down low, turn up low. Wow. Oh,
That's so
no,
much control.
this is high. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Turn down high, turn up high, and also turn down low, turn up high or low.
Wow, yeah.
So MT2 has very strong EQ. So also that has middle. You can change the mid sound. Wow. And
Yeah, it's
also you can change the mid frequency. So you can create such a variety of sound by using EQ section on MT2.
yeah, it's got massive control. You can really dial them in,
Mhm.
which means that they're very powerful and can come up with a massive number of sounds. I've even
Yeah.
seen country artists play with them, but they're also so powerful that it's easy to step in and make a bad sound at times. So, you know, be cautious because it's powerful and does amazing
Mhm.
things. So, Yoshi, we've talked about a bunch of our standard line pedals,
Yeah.
SD1s, overdrive pedals. We even got into MT2 and ML2, which I'm really glad we did.
Mhm.
I bet the audience would really like to see something in the Waza pedal line,
Yep.
because the Waza pedals are mere pedals and they're hand built in the office right below you. So it'd be nice to see maybe BD2.
Mhm. Yes.
We
Now
could
I have
custom versus
BD2W.
standard.
Yeah. So let's see the waveform.
Ah, nice.
Yeah. A little bit big. Maybe you can see. Yep. So this is a BD2W standard mode. So let's change that to custom mode. Hmm. You can see difference. This
Yes.
is standard mode. This is custom mode.
Right. So
So
it's
yeah, custom mode has kind of like a right shoulder is moving up. So that means custom mode has much more low.
mhm.
So the real sound is custom mode is best making based on standard mode, but mid to low end is much more richer than uh, standard mode, and also that is making by not only one part, you know. So we are changing a lot of parts. So or the sound character is slightly uh, adjusted tuning to the suitable sound.
Yeah.
That is Waza tuning.
Yes. The custom mode. I really like it. Korigatsuki desu. So that's a great difference to see in the Waza pedals. And just so people at home know, if they don't know much about the Waza pedal line, there's 10 pedals in the line right now. And they are pedals that were traditionally a classic, like an SD1 or a BD2. And it was a chance for the engineers to kind of go back and make an enhanced, version. They're built in Japan. And one of the unique things about all of the Waza pedals, besides being an enhanced, awesome version, is the fact that they always have a custom mode, which Yoshi just showed you. And the custom mode allows it to have something new, a new feature, a new thing, maybe something people would tweak it for, maybe something we thought we could do to enhance it and stuff like that. So that was really cool to see that, Yoshi-san. Thank you very, very much. When it comes to doing Talks with Boss, what's always awesome is that it's a direct interactivity with everybody at home. So I just wanted to take a moment and maybe Yoshi and I can say hi to Kosi, Alberta,
Mhm.
Piran, Patrick. Thank you guys so much. And thanks for the kind questions and comments. I do see that there was a comment about Yoshi's pen that somebody would like that. So maybe someday those will come out. Actually, at the History Museum, there's all kinds of old swag that is interesting. Maybe we need some new ones. There is a question here, Yoshi, which I don't know if you could answer or not, but what is the oldest current employee at Boss? As if, somebody asked, I wonder if there's anybody there since the late 70s. And I know you yourself count in that pool, but could you tell us more?
What oldest what?
The oldest employee, the longest working employee at Boss.
Boss.
Yes.
Oh,
You started in 78.
yeah. Started with Roland, not Boss. But
Right.
actually, I moved to Boss after some years later. So maybe famous Masao is the longest working for Boss. But right now, I'm working for Roland 43 years. The only President Mixer is 1 year older than me.
Yes.
So I'm number 2 right now, longest guy in Roland.
That's well, and I don't know if people know this, but you actually started, working on the line in Roland,
Yeah,
building things.
GR 500.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Amazing. GR 500 so many years ago, and now you're president of Boss, and we still make great synth products like the SY 1000, the SY 1. So many great things. So thank you for explaining that. And that's a fun piece of history that I love hearing myself. And for everybody, I think you did an awesome job giving us some insight into all these pedals and their unique differences, and clarified some of the unique things. And using the waveforms on the oscilloscope was a fun tool. Do you want to tell everybody what our next theme for the next Talks with Boss might be?
Yes, we want to continue the same waveform analysis. So, we are trying to show the waveform much clearer, but every time we are changing setting, and today we are replacing pedals, but we will improve the situation. So next, same waveform analysis with the other pedals. And also I have an announcement, next Talk with Boss, it will be bi-weekly. So next one will be the every other week. So please look forward to watching next waveform analysis part 2. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Yoshi-san. So I hope everyone enjoyed this talk with Boss. I know I did, and it's always fun. And if you have any comments, questions, anything that you would like to share with us, please leave them in the chat box. We'll try and get back to them. We love hearing from you. We love hearing what you're interested in hearing in future Talk with Boss. So please put your suggestions in there, and maybe we can do those for you. And our next Talks with Boss will be Wednesday, June 16th at 7:30 a.m. in the UK. It'll be 3:30 p.m. in Japan time. And where I'm at in Los Angeles, it's actually slightly a day before. It'll be at 11:30 p.m. the previous day. So thank you very much, everyone. Yoshi, thank you very much, and we'll see you guys soon.
Yes, thank you very much, everybody, to joining. See you next